Grace woke up before dawn and stayed very still. The beads around her waist were moving. Not shifting like normal jewelry, but just moving. Each amber bead pressed and crawled a little on her skin, tight in a circle, counting her breath. The thread had grown warm in the night. Now it pulsed like a small heartbeat under her flesh. When she inhaled, the ring tightened. When she held her breath, it loosened as if it was feeding her breath back to her. She reached for the light, then stopped. The room was quiet, but she could hear a faint clicking. Not loud, close. The sound came from her waist bead. She tried to call out, only air left her throat. There was no voice ready to help her. This moment did not begin today. It began weeks earlier, with normal wishes and the slow hunger of praise. Grace walked at a bank. She moved with a calm hand and a soft face that people trusted. Strangers liked her. Colleagues leaned towards her warmth. At church, her voice rose and rested on simple songs, and people turned their heads when they heard it. Praise followed her like sunlight, but she did not believe it. In the mirror, she always found something small to fix. She pulled her blouse a little looser around her waist. She told herself she was fine. She told herself she was almost enough. She used her phone at night like many people do when the room is quiet. One evening, a video appeared. A beauty influencer smiled through the screen and lifted a thin string of beads. The message felt harmless. Confident posture, womanly shaped, inner glow. These were the words of the influencer. The words were gentle and modern. The comments were full of admiration. Grace scrolled through photos. Normal women stood a little taller. The glow looked real. She wanted a small private help. She wanted to feel what the people said they saw. She ordered the beads. They came in a small box with clean branding and a thank you card. The colors were amber and soft gold with a fine black thread running through the middle, like a small road on a map. The thread felt warm between her fingers, as if it had waited in someone's hands already. The instructions were short. Wear daily, do not remove. She read the words twice. The rules felt like a promise, not a warning. She wrapped the bead around her waist in the quiet of her room. The fit was perfect. The circle settled against her skin as if it knew where to rest. When she looked in the mirror that night, she smiled at herself for the first time in a long while. The smile was small, it was real. The first week came like soft weather. Grace woke up lighter. Her shoulders sat back without effort. People noticed her calm ways. A colleague said, a customer waited long in her line. The security guard stood a little taller when she passed. At church, her voice found the notes easily. Heads turned again, hands lifted. It felt like a good week and nothing more. The beats warmed through the days. They seemed to lean her shape and hold it. When she lay down at night, the warmth was almost like a small animal sleeping. The second week changed slowly, and then all at once. Praise increased. Some days it felt like rain. Only photos carried hearts and bright words. At work, compliments arrived by habit. On the street, eyes lingered. Each word left a mark she could not see. The beads began to tighten. Not enough to hurt, only enough to be known. By midweek, the warmth had become heat. By the weekend, her skin felt tender where the beads rested, like a path walked too many times. She tested the space with a finger, trying to slide it under the string for a breath of room. The thread beat gently. She drew back. A faint bruise appeared under the amber. That night, she lay on her side and listened to the small sound the beads began to make in the dark. The click sound from the beads were not metal. They were closer to that. She told herself it was fine. She told herself it was adjustment. She kept wearing them. The rule said daily. She had made a promise to an idea she could not name. The third week taught her the shape of hunger. Praise found her even when she hid from it. A neighbor, a passerby, a caption under an old photo that someone rediscovered. Even silence praised her. Each time the beads answered, they pulled tighter by a breath. The fine black thread in the center thinned like a blade. The beads closed like a fist. Her knees went soft. She folded slowly and then stood again. She walked home with careful steps. In the bathroom mirror, she lifted her shirt and saw that the thread had gone under the skin in one small place, like a root looking for water. Sleep left her room. The city night sounds rose and fell. Sometimes she felt them count. Each day brought them closer. Then she decided to search for answers, the modern way first. She went back to the page where she bought the beads. There were quiet posts under the bead photos. There were also private groups where women spoke in coded languages. Some said the beads improved posture. Some said they helped with romance. A few said nothing in words. She searched and searched until her eyes ached. Not until she eventually discovered a hidden post trade where women warned about beads that fed on praises. They explained that once the bead begins to tighten, the only way to break free is the 3 days of complete silence, a bow, a razor, and a sacrifice. The last warning was clear: do not scream. Scream fits them. The next morning, Grace prepared herself. She took leave from work, closed her curtains, turned every mirror to the wall, and switched off her phone completely. She dressed in plain clothing, cooked simple food, and cleared a space on the floor. She knew she had entered a battle no one could fight for her. Day one was loud. The world outside kept calling. People laughed in the corridor. Messages vibrated softly. Memories tried to bring pride, but Grace refused every thought of admiration. Yet at night, the beads moved restlessly, hungry for attention. Day two was heavier. The room felt like a companion, but the silence was hard. A love song from a neighbor's radio almost broke her, but she covered her ears. Her tears fell quietly. The beats cooled for a moment, then heated again, waiting. Day three arrived sharp and dangerous. Children played outside. Someone almost praised her through the door, but she pressed her hands over her ears just in time. That night, rain finally came, and under the sound of the storm, Grace slept like a stone, still but not broken. Before sunrise, she rose. She placed a bow and a razor on the floor. She lifted her blouse and saw bruises where the beads had sunk in. Without a word, she pressed the blade against the thread. The first bead cracked. Heat ripped through her body. One by one, the beads fell lifeless into the bowl. When it ended, her voice was gone. She could only whisper, but she was free. In the day that followed, she walked gently through life. She avoided praises. She chose silence over spotlight. She no longer feared mirrors. The woman she saw was the same one the world admired. Only now, she admired herself quietly. Grace never wore beads again. She no longer needed anything around her waist to remind her where she ended and where the world began.